The cookie has been a staple in our society for many centuries. The first cookie was said to have appeared in the 7th century in Persia. The Persians were first to make the cookie because they were the first to cultivate sugar. And during their fight with Spain, the cookie expanded into all of Europe. 7 centuries after this war, you could find cookies for sale on the street corners of Paris. The first time the cookie recipe was found in a cookbook was around the year 1596 in Good Housewife's Jewel by Thomas Dawson. However, the recipe might have been in there. The name cookie was not. These small treats were referred to as fine cakes. During the next few centuries, the cookie thrived because of its compactability and its ability to stay fresh for long periods of time. Because of these aspects, in the late 1800s, the cookie finally made it to the United States. Brought over by English, Dutch, and Scotch immigrants, the cookie became a thing of pride in the South. Southern housewives took time and dedication into making their tea cakes, as they called them back then. The cookie then had many different names in cookbooks, such as jumbles, plunkets, and crybabies. Not until 1796 was the name cookie created. The name came from an old cookbook called The American Cookery by Amelia Simmons. In this book, there were 2 different types of cookie recipes for the 2 different cookies. One was called simply just cookies, and the other was called the Christmas cookie. Since that time, there's now thousands and thousands of different types of recipes that cannot be found in one book for the cookie. Along with this long tradition of history, my family itself has a history of making cookies. From my parents to grandparents, ever since I was a kid, they've all fed me different types of cookies. That come from generation to generation of different recipes. All have been tweaked by each person trying to make it better. My favorite, however, of these classic recipes has to be Nestle's classic chocolate chip cookie recipe. It's also one of the easier recipes to make. To make this recipe, first we need to have the ingredients. You start with 2 1/4 cups of flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of salt, 2 sticks of butter, 3/4 of a cup of sugar, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 eggs, and 2 cups of chocolate chips. I'm going to grab the eggs from the fridge. And to make this the right way, you need to have 2 different bowls. One for dry and one your mixing bowl for the wetter ingredients. Now to start, we'll start with the drier ingredients. The drier ingredients for the 2 1/4 cups of flour. Then you mix in the tablespoon of baking soda and the teaspoon of salt. And this is your drier ingredients. You mix that up a little bit, make it all good. And you save this for later in the recipe. And now you move on to the wetter ingredients, which include 2 sticks of butter, the 3/4 cup of sugar, the 3/4 cup of brown sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and that's it. These four ingredients go into the mixing bowl. You take the mixing bowl, lock it into the mixer, put your mixer down, and allow it to mix. As it mixes, you'll see that it gradually gets into a finer way. And while it's mixing, you want to take the 2 eggs, one at a time, crack them, and put them into the ingredients. One at a time though, so it makes it more of a consistency throughout the batter. After you see that the egg has been fully mixed in, you can add the second one. Once those have been added, you can take the drier ingredients and mix it all together. Wow, this is a little time to keep up. Don't spin it too fast like I did, or else it'll fall off the edge. And as it spins, it'll gradually get into like more of a thick texture, just like cooking batter should look like. And as you do this, you can slowly add your chocolate chips, making sure that they're evenly dispersed, so that they disperse more evenly throughout their substance. After a little bit of time, and a few spilled chocolate chip cookie drops. The batter should be, pretty consistent thoroughly. Give it about a minute or so to the mix. And voila, you have your cookie batter. And once you take your cookie batter, you grab, 15 by 10 inch ungreased cooking pan. You take teaspoons of the cookie batter and put about 24 down. 24 blobs of cookie batter down. Along with that, you take this, preheat your oven to 375 and put the cookie dough into the oven. Once that's, you give it 10 minutes to heal. Once that's done, you give it 2 minutes to dry, put it on a plate like this, and voila, you have your multicultural snack.